Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Picnic Table Chat Show. Just making sure the microphone's on the right one. Yes, it is. That's good. So this is completely lost already. Season 10, episode 8, and it is going to be probably another little short one tonight. I'm absolutely exhausted, and I'll explain why in a minute. Good evening, Antisocial and Paul. Thanks for coming in. I said hello to everyone else, I think. If I haven't, hello. How is everyone? Let me know how you're doing. If you've got any questions or any ant things or any messages for me that, like, if you've got any questions for me about your ants, you know what I mean, now's probably a good time to ask them, because I've been rubbish at answering my messages lately. Quite simply, I'm still really, really unwell. Like, what, 5, 6 weeks of antibiotics now, and it's just not doing anything. Just absolutely exhausted from it. Just, yeah. So I'm doing what I can. I am still about, but I'm not as communicative as I would like to be. I think that's the word. I don't know. Not as focused as I'd like to be. That's the main thing. Getting on my nerves, because I've got so much I want to get done at the minute, but it gets to like midday and I'm like, wow, I'm knackered. And by about 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I have to sleep. Otherwise, I'm absolutely done in. And yeah, brain just stops functioning properly. To be honest, it's just one of those things. I'm gonna get rid of that. Um, but we'll get there. We'll get there. I will get better, and it will all get there regardless. Saying that, actually, I have still been working, of course, doing the odd bits and bobs. So today was quite a, I won't say an important day, but it was quite an important day, really. So I've managed to now sign all 3 contracts for next year's shows. That's 2025. We've got our venues sorted already and done now. So that's quite a weight off my mind, if you know what I mean. It's something I don't have to worry about in the future. So it's nice to be prepared, obviously, and have this sort of thing sorted nice and early, and to get, like, we've got Sheffield already sorted, and that's like nearly a year away still. So it's nice to be this far ahead and sorted, because like with this one, we ended up changing the Sheffield venue because of the other venue letting us down, like right late in the season, later than I would have liked to, for organising and preparing and whatnot. So it's really helpful to have this sort of locked in and signed, all the dotted lines already. You know, I'm happy about it. Like I say, I'm not doing an overly lot every day, but when I am working, I'm working as hard as I can, if that makes sense, and I'm getting a fair bit done still. Like, the shows are starting to, well, you already know, they're like really coming together. I've got some good stuff booked in already for, again, next year, because I've been working ahead. Um, but yeah, like, all sorts of stuff's happening. We've had some new deliveries of, like, show stuff, like equipment. Like, so obviously, over the time where I've been doing these shows, we've been slowly adding and adding to our equipment that we have, like lighting and the signs and banners and all of that lot. It's all coming slowly. So now we've got, I forget what they're called, but they're like wheelie trolley things to help us move stuff about, which is going to make a massive difference to us setting up and moving the tanks about for a start. But like, so many heavy things we have to bring in, and there's like teams of us to like carry things. Usually, being able to stick them straight on this will make a massive difference. But all sorts of things, we're always adding, like the Sheffield show, we added in walkie talkies. That was pretty cool. So now all the staff are walkie talkied up. I have one in my ear, so if anyone needs me, they can just walkie talkie me wherever I am around the show, and I can come running. I think that's pretty cool, and it's quite important as the show grows. We're going to have the outside area as well as the hall for both Weymouth and Bristol. So it's good to have that better communication around the site. I think it's really helpful. And yeah, again, it's something that like excites me. It's nice to yeah, that's it. It's nice to know that we're progressing in those sorts of sense. Everything's sort of progressing. Yeah. And yeah, so that's really cool. We're all locked in with all of that, and we've got some new show equipment and some more things on order. All the posters are here now, the posters and the flyers for the Weymouth and Bristol show. So we're going to start getting them out over the next few days, weeks, months. The Weymouth show we're going to get out straight away, obviously. And the Bristol one, I've got a little bit more time, but I do want to get them out nice and early because, like, it's good to get it out nice and early so people can start planning their summers, I suppose. Obviously, the Bristol show right at the start of August. It's helpful to know that, I suppose, so you can plan around it. Like if you're going on holiday, or I don't know. I know someone is going on holiday, and on their drive back from holiday, they're going to stop in on the show. Like that day, they're going to leave their campsite or wherever in the morning, drive up, stop in at the show, spend all day there, then drive further up home, which is absolutely awesome, but a little bit of a long day. But well, we've all done long days is like sort of I think once you reach a certain age, like you just do long days, I suppose. Like anything past like 22, when you start like actually working, getting your head down. Like even if you've got a good job, it's like it takes a good while to like get into it, I think. But by the time you're like, I don't know, mid-20s, I think sleep is a rarity. Maybe it's just me and everyone I know, but it just seems to be, yeah, that's it. Long day is second nature for us. That's it. It's like, but I don't think that is just us. I think it is like naturally adults. Like when, what was it, when people go, oh, I'm so tired, it's like, you're not tired, you're an adult. This is life. But I don't know. there's me saying that, and 5 minutes ago telling everyone how knackered I am, so completely contradicting myself there. Brilliant. On that note, let's move on to something else. Let's talk about my termite colony, because my termite colony is doing really well. They've basically ran out of water in their test tube now, and I was actually at a point where I was going to swap them into a new test tube. And speaking to Paul, you said into a new test tube as well. But I do think I'm actually going to move them into setup very soon, because they've got quite good numbers in there. Looking in there now, they grow a lot faster than ants by the looks of it. I'll say that. And yeah, so I'm going to put them into a setup where there's already a nice chunk of rotting wood, and it's nice and humid, and it's a good environment for them. Basically, it's perfect for them. So I'm going to stick them in there. I'm a little bit unsure as how to ease them out, because I don't want to expose them to the light, because they are worse than ants. If you expose them to the light, you can cause real damage to the colony, So it's going to be a matter of like leaving the test tube there and just waiting and hoping that one day they leave, I suppose, looking for water, because they've still got like quite a bit of wood and like debris and stuff before they reach the end of the tube that they haven't chewed through. So it like they could leave. Like it's not completely full, but you know what I mean? They still, unless they go really looking for water, they've got no real reason to leave that tube at the moment. So I probably will just pop it in next to the big branch. I might even drill a hole, like a little starter hole for them at the top of the branch. And that will just, make it a little bit easier and a little bit more inviting for them to go straight in there. Queen and king can run straight in, because you do get a queen and king with termites. They can run straight in with their workers without risk of being exposure. Because they absolutely hate being outside, and yeah, they hate the light. Place the test tube under some leaf litter and wood to keep them dark but still natural. That's a good idea. Is there anything you don't have or want, Paul? Yeah, Paul's got a collection much like mine, sort of growing in every direction. But that, it's great because we do a lot of work together, me and Paul. Centipedes. I've got the centipede though, and we do a lot of work together. It means when we do like educational events, we can bring some of his collection as well. And it really, it helps mix it up a bit. It gives my animals a break as well. which is always well needed. Like if we've got 2 or 3 events in the same week, I don't like using the same animals twice in a week, you know what I mean? So if I take them to one, that's them done for the week. I've got to then go on to another one. So it's a matter of, Paul, what can I use of yours next? Because we've got too many events. But that doesn't happen too often, actually. We try and space them out. We don't have tons and tons of events at the minute. I expect it will get more busy around the summertime. In fact, we know it will get busy around the summertime because we've already got things booking in for summertime, which is very cool. We've got quite a few like smaller, not small events, because the library events aren't exactly small, but yeah, the library event that's coming up fairly fast, just around the corner. Always super excited to go to the library. You've probably heard me rant and rave about it before. It's just such a great atmosphere. Like everyone that comes there has come to see me specifically, which is nice, but like they're excited to see the animals, and it's well managed as well. It's nice to have them managing the sort of the flow of people, and they manage everything for me, the library does. So it's really nice for me to just be able to focus on the animals and the children and the people, guests, you know, and like do what I enjoy doing rather than having to sort of manage things as well as doing things, which is always a challenge. Not saying I don't enjoy it, but it's a bit challenging when you've got like 100 odd or 200 odd children waiting to see you, and you've got to do this or that. You know, it's just nice to be able to focus. But yeah, I really enjoy the library events. They are good. So if you're in the Weymouth area, I can't remember the exact date, but it's on the website. Head on over and check it out because it is worth a look. I think, yeah, you've got to get a ticket, but the tickets are free. But we do that just to stop me being completely bombarded, because one year we went there expecting 50 people and a good few hundred turned up, and it was just me on my own, and it was like, okay, completely overwhelmed, but I managed. But it's nice to sort of know if I need a second member of staff to come with me, like Paul. So I'm just catching up on chat. Yeah, all good, all good. Right, so let's talk a little bit about the dives, because they have been very active lately, as you can see. You might spot some with wings. I can't see any on the screen right this second, but they have been coming in and going out and whatnot. And yeah, so I'm expecting there will be another nuptial flight out of these this year. You know, you can't always guarantee it. You pretty much can, because they're a very strong colony, but you can't always guarantee that they'll have a flight. Simple as that. But they should do, and it does look like they're going to have another big flight in the house. So I will be collecting as many of those queens as I can find. Last year we found some up in the girls' bedroom, so that's like they've got out of here all the way up the stairs, and yeah, so that's quite a trek, you know what I mean? So they do fly, they definitely fly. And they're all well, 99% of them are fertile when we find them anyways. In fact, last year we had so many that we didn't know what to do with them in the end, because they were coming out in droves, weren't they? But now we've got multiple colonies of them as well, so it's going to be even more interesting. We've got 3 colonies, my own colonies of Polyrhacus dives. So yeah, if one starts going, they might all start going. No, maybe not this year, but next year we'll have 3 colonies of Polyrhacus at the same time, potentially, which would be quite interesting. Interesting. Time to shut the windows. Definitely. But yeah, no, they're doing really well. You might see some of them are carrying about larvae as well. They're not actually building, they're not adding any further extensions onto the nest at the moment that I know of. I think they're just doing repair work, which tends to be almost a daily job. You will see ants come out with, in a big nest like this, you will see some workarounds carrying the larvae about and just doing some patching up work. You know, if a beetle's run over it or something like that, and it's just got a little bit loose, or you know, and they just do a bit of patching up. Because although it does look sort of papery, or I don't know, it looks tougher than it is. Does that make sense? Like, even though it doesn't look that tough, it looks a lot tougher than it is. It's it's almost like a sponge. No, no, it is almost papery, but it's a really thin paper. I can't explain it. It's a really weird sort of thing, but their silk is very fragile and it can be split very easily. So yeah, they're always doing repair works on the inside and outside, which is always interesting to see. One of the fun things we used to do, and I can't do it anymore, obviously, is we would look at the back of the tank every couple of months and just see what's going on at the back of the nest, because that was always very cool. With the does is like every few months with the nut. Yeah, that's just because we keep them in such good conditions. The environment like perfect for them all the time. Like it. It's a hard one to explain, but once you get the environment right for dives, they pretty much are easy. Although they're not easy ants, it is 99% environment. Like they're not really escape artists, although they can escape if you let them. Like we've got several escape routes out of the tank, but they tend not to use them. So they're not difficult in that regard. It's more the fact of you've got to get that environment right. They love humidity, they love a bit of heat, and I found the day and night cycle actually makes a massive difference to them as well, especially in a smaller size colony. I've noticed this with the two other colonies I've got going of them as well. Once it gets past a certain time, their activity will start to slow down. Now, you tend to find that with a lot of ants. Anyways, you get nocturnal ants, you get daytime ants, same as anything else. But Polyrhacus dives, me being very specific with them, I tend to find like the minute you switch off that light, if it's a small colony, not always, like the activity does die right down. Not completely, definitely not completely, but it does die right down in comparison to like a nice warm day. And obviously that's because they're out absorbing the sunshine in the day and catching all those rays, warming themselves for extra energy. So they tend not to come out too much at night. Obviously, in the environment that they would live at, temperatures would drop during the night time. Not massively because it's a so humid environment, but temperatures do drop during night time. So it makes more sense for them to be sort of in the nest. And that's their natural instincts, which is really cool to see because they do say captive bred ants, after a few generations, they can start to lose like traits like that. And definitely the aggression in hunting. I say so. I think it's mainly in the like inbreeding species and that they tend to become more scavengers than hunters. Although they will still swarm things, it's less likely over the course of a few generations. I'm not sure if that is 100% accurate or concrete yet, but it is something I know I've been reading about in one of the research journals. I sit there like trying to stay awake sometimes and just have a little read, Gotta keep up with everything because I have still got a lot of work waiting on me to sit down and do. But it's better to be, what's the word, well versed in it before you start, I suppose. What else have I been doing? Although, like I said, I've been sleeping a lot. I've been resting a lot. I've been doing bits of work, getting out the orders, like as and when I can. We done all sorts of bits of work, we had some really exciting opportunities lately. I can't yet tell you about them. I really wish I could because it's super awesome, but I am sworn to absolute secrecy upon pain of probably being sued or something. So there have been some really cool things happening and we will tell you about them in due course. Apart from that, the only other new thing for me really is I got Netflix. Now, I've never had Netflix before. I've got Disney and we got Amazon Prime, and then I was like, well, I can't keep getting all of them because there's like however many different services, and it's all money at the end of the day. So we stopped with Disney at a minute, and we're going on to Netflix to see what's on there because we've pretty much gone through Disney like heck. The only thing that I'm really watching on Disney now is just Star Wars repeats. So we've gone on to Netflix. and it was all right. I've watched a couple of things. I've watched a couple of different series that I've really enjoyed. Actually, I've blasted my whole way through both of them basically, and now I'm somewhat stuck on that as well. Netflix has ran out of things. I'm sure there's thousands of other films and series that I'm going to enjoy, but they're just not popping up on my home screen yet, and I am not seeing anything that I'm really gonna jump out and want to watch. You know what I mean? So we're gonna. So it's really weird, right? So I looked at, me and the wife were talking the other day. And we were talking about the Matrix and how, like, back in the day, that was cool technology to be able to do slow mo and all of that. Now it's like nothing. Like, but so that whole film was basically like, we were basically saying, like, what was the plot line, and we couldn't work out the plot line because we were both quite young watching it, and there's a lot going on in the Matrix, isn't there? There's like robots and alternate world or reality or whatever, and all sorts going on. And we said we should watch the Matrix and see if we can understand it. See if we can make sense of what's going on as adults. So we looked on Netflix, and they've only got like the last one. They haven't even got the normal Matrix. They've got the last one out of the three. Like, oh, okay, that's not helpful. And then we were having a conversation about Jurassic Park the other day, and I was like, hang on, we'll just watch that bit of the film and see. And they ain't got that. They've got like Fallen Kingdom, which is like the second to last one released. What is going on, Netflix? Like, why haven't you got the series? Like, it's really slightly annoying. Like, one, I'd like to watch it, but two, for my autism or whatever it is inside me that's annoying, it's very annoying. So I couldn't get a DVD set and just get like the third box set. I'd have to get them all, you know what I mean? Have to start at the beginning, don't you? It's craziness. So yeah, that's been my week in a nutshell, or 2 weeks in a nutshell, really. Wow, it's gone so fast as well. Thing is, like I said, I am sleeping like so much as well that I don't even notice the days. Like, it's just molding into one long nap awake sort of job. Is what it is. Things can only get better. I'm not going to sing the rest of that because I don't actually know the rest of that song, and I would be well out of tune by the sounds of it. Believe it or not, I was once in a choir. Like, I was in college, obviously. I did the drums, but drums isn't enough for a music course. You have to do something with be able to play different tunes and stuff. So I took up singing and joined the choir in the college, and then I joined the outside choir as well because they needed extra hands. So I was actually in a choir for a long time, and I could sing fairly well. I think I was a bass note, which is, although I have got, I suppose, a bassy voice, I wouldn't say I've got a bassy voice. But yeah. That's a little fact I expect you didn't know about me. But you probably could guess it because I sing quite often. I'm not a overly shy person in that regard. If you meet me at the shows, you might see me have a little dance jig about when it's a quiet 5 minutes, just because that's the sort of person I am when I have energy, anyways. Oh dear, oh dear. Right, so we are heading towards the end of the show now. If you have anything to ask me, any questions, comments, or anything else, put it in the chat now, and I will make sure to get around to answering it. I'm just looking at what these dives are doing. So I would love to know how many dives are in that nest. Bear in mind, that's like a tiny little portion of the nest as well. I've zoomed right in so you can actually see the ants. Like, to see the whole nest, you have to zoom right out, but you can't see the ants then. And it's like, well, what do you want? Do you want to see the ants, or do you want to see a blank nest? It's, oh. Well, that looked like he was, yeah, there's an ant on the camera. That's good, isn't it? So that one's got out somehow. And he's crawling over the camera. I'll deal with him in a minute. I'll keep an eye on him. Let's say we're heading towards the end of the show, so I'm not gonna put the microphone down, run over the other side of the room, come back, just say goodbye. Because I hate doing that. Like, you know, when you're on the phone to someone and then like you're in the middle of like you're about to go, and then it hangs up or you get cut out or whatnot, and then you feel kind of rude about it. So you gotta call them back and say, "Sorry, I'm going now. Bye." It's like, why am I doing this? Like, we were going anyways. It's just done for us. But you feel so, or I feel so rude about it. I have to call him back and apologise. I suppose that's the Britishness in me. I am going to grab this ant now because he's on the move. And he's back in the tank. Quick as that. Easy. We're well trained with the dives. Oh dear. So yeah, I've managed to pull a muscle as well. I forgot to mention this. So I've got my chest infection, which has been absolutely doing me in. And I've managed to pull a muscle in, I don't know if it's my back or my front, but it's basically my lung. So at one point, like my lung kept collapsing and they stuck my lungs to my rib cage, like in surgery. So like the muscle tissue and my lungs and my ribs are all directly connected. It kind of sucks. So I've pulled this muscle right on top of my lung. Every time I breathe, it hurts. Like it hurts a lot. And then if I take a deep breath, it would literally like take the breath away with pain, if you know what I mean. It really sucks. So yeah, I'm dealing with that right now. Kind of sat here in a hunched up kind of Hunchback of Notre Dame sort of reenactment. Yeah, cool. But I'll stretch it out and see what I can do and see if we can like get the muscle to ease. If not, it's just gonna be a hell of a night. Yeah, I always say that's the worst thing is like I can deal with it most of the time during the day, but night time's just something else. Trying to sleep through it all. And I suppose that's again why I was so tired, like, because I'm not getting good sleep. But it is what it is. So, yeah, I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you all for coming in and watching again and listening to me ramble, mainly about me feeling rubbish. But yeah, no, seriously, thank you very much. I will be back on my form and working hard with some doctors. In fact, I've got a hospital appointment tomorrow morning. I think it's tomorrow morning. It's tomorrow. I'll chat to you soon about making. Yeah, definitely do that. Yes, and yeah, it's yeah. If you need me, send me a message. You know where I am, and I will get back to you as and when I can. Like I say, I'm hoping the next few appointments will sort of set me straight. Having the hospital deal with me is just a bit more serious than going to the local GPs or whatnot. They'll get me straight, you know. And yeah. You know I am if you need me. So, massive thank you to you all. Massive thank you to Patreon supporters and our sponsors, Answer Us and Valhalla Martial Arts. And as always, for me, I'll see you again soon, Ant fans. Good night.